Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I have a lot of pertinent information I want to share with you tonight. And be advised, we are not going to be talking about earthquakes. I'm sorry, that's not going to fit into our broadcast schedule tonight. I'm very sorry about that. If you wanted earthquakes today, I was going to talk about the pneumatic fault. That will have to wait until tomorrow. Nothing has changed since last week on the pneumatic fault. Nothing has changed since last week or even earlier this week when we talked about the Pacific Northwest as well. Be advised, I believe that any day now we could have a major earthquake on the pneumatic fault. I'm putting that out there right now. I need to be straight up front with you. This could happen. It could happen today, it could happen tomorrow, but it's going to happen. I promise you that. It will happen. We don't know when. I'm not a magician. I'm not a prognosticator. I'm not a fortune teller or anything like that. But I'm telling you, that is going to happen. We told you a long time ago that the San Andreas Fault was going to pop. It's going to. We don't know when. I keep showing you day after day, almost day after day, week after week, what's going on with the San Andreas Fault. Yes, things have calmed down around Los Angeles and even San Diego and the Imperial Valley to some extent, but doesn't mean that nothing's going to happen or something's not going to happen. It is. It's brewing. It's brewing. The San Andreas Fault is locked and loaded in Southern California and also locked and loaded around San Francisco, California. It's going to happen. Just like the Cascadia megathrust earthquake. We believe it's going to happen within the next 5 years. And we told you a couple weeks ago something added to that. That great big huge fault called the Haida-Gwaii Fault, just north of Cascadia. It's called the Haida-Gwaii megathrust fault. It looks the same as Cascadia does, but it's closer to shore to Haida-Gwaii. It's going to happen. It may even happen before the Cascadia, and if that's the case, it might precipitate the Cascadia quake from happening, meaning it could cause it, trigger it. Now, guys, tonight I want to talk about Hurricane Erin, primarily about Hurricane Erin. This is important. Again, why do we talk about what we do? Because we are trying to save lives here. We're trying to save lives. That's primarily the focus of tonight's program, is to try to save lives. Now, I've got a lot of information for you. Okay, first off, I want to start with one of the things that we talked about this morning. Yes, I was on the air earlier this morning. I have a lot of information to show you. I would hope that you would want to be here. Folks, if you don't want to be here more than 5 or 10 minutes, you might as well leave right now. Okay? I'm not asking anybody to leave. However, if you're not here to find out what we're doing and why stuff is happening, you might as well leave. Because our information has to do with saving lives. People die in hurricanes every year, several times a year. People die because they go into flooded areas, risking their lives, taking upon themselves their own lives. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous. This is one of the largest hurricanes we've ever seen. It's hard to even talk about. It really is. Let's talk about rip currents. Rip currents are water that goes into the beach, off the ocean into the beach, and then it returns to the ocean. There is a high risk of rip currents from today on through at least tomorrow for most of the U.S. East Coast. Most of the East Coast beaches, from South Florida to Massachusetts, due to Hurricane Erin. Beachgoers are urged to follow information from the lifeguards, local authorities, and the beach warning flags. Up and down the coastline from northern Florida all the way to Boston. Red flag warnings on the beaches, meaning don't go in the water. Don't go in the water. The best advice is to stay out of the water. Plain and simple, stay out of the water. Now, primarily, we're talking about high tides. Tonight's high tide here in North Carolina will happen around 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Will already be high tide, then we have an increased water level of approximately 6 to 7 feet of surf. Hurricane surge. Hurricane surge, guys. Water being propelled just like you would see my arm here. You see my arm here. Water coming in off the ocean, being pushed by a great big huge arm of a hurricane. Whoosh! Water headed to the beach. Heavy duty water under pressure. Just like magma going into the volcano, this water is under pressure. Out at sea, we have waves as high as 20 feet high. At the beaches, we're seeing 6 to 15 feet high. Beaches are seeing 6 to 15 high foot breakers. This is North Carolina right here. Now that's not all, folks. Primarily, here in North Carolina, there's a beach in Dare County. Dare County, right here. Let me enlarge this picture so you can see it here. This is Dare County, Florida. Dare County, Florida, and the state of North Carolina has issued a state of emergency call. A state of emergency. There's a reason for it. Now, folks, this isn't taken lightly. This is the latest update after 2 o'clock today. Dare County is primarily the danger point in the coastal area of North Carolina, where we speak about hurricanes. I want to give you just a small overview of the area that we're talking about when it comes to protection of human life. Dare County is also the site of the Cape Hatteras National Seashore, the Wright Brothers National Monument. We talked about our headquarters here in Morganton, North Carolina, being 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. Dare County is also home to Fort Riley National Historic Site, the Alligator River National Wildlife Refuge, the Pea Island National Wildlife Refuge, Jockey's Ridge State Park, Elizabeth II State Historic Site, and Roanoke Island. This is bulletin number 5 that the state of North Carolina has issued today. Tropical storm and storm surge warnings remain in effect for Dare County, with the National Weather Service forecast indicating that tropical storm force winds are expected to reach this area by this evening, Wednesday evening, August 20th, 2025, and continue through Thursday, August 21st, 2025. In addition, Dare County remains under a state of emergency, and a mandatory evacuation order remains in effect for all areas of Hatteras Island. That is Hurricane Evacuation Zone A. If you are still on Hatteras Island and contemplating evacuating, do so immediately. Immediately. Right now, we're just over about an hour and a half from high tide. An hour and a half from high tide. Then all bets will be off. If you contemplate evacuating from Hatteras Island or any of the seashore locations that I mentioned, do so immediately. The window to evacuate is closing quickly due to coastal flooding and overwash that started yesterday. It's already begun to impact portions of North Carolina Highway 12 that we mentioned several days earlier. This is forecast to worsen by this evening and continue to deteriorate. As the 6 p.m. high tide approaches this evening, be ready to shelter in place for at least 36 hours, if not longer. Make sure you have plenty of food. Make sure you have plenty of clothing. Make sure you have plenty of water. Coastal flooding, storm surge, and overwash are expected to begin with this evening's high tide and continue to build through Friday, August 22nd. North Carolina Highway 12 on Hatteras Island is expected to become impassable, making it very and extremely difficult, if not impossible, for emergency services personnel to respond to calls for service on Hatteras Island. This will be a long duration event for the Outer Banks, impacting North Carolina Highway 12 through late this week. Significant impacts could continue into Friday due to lingering powerful swell energy and elevated tides. Although the most severe impacts from Hurricane Erin are expected on Hatteras Island, residents and visitors north of Oregon Inlet, especially those staying along the ocean front, should remain alert. Be mindful of rising ocean waters as the storm passes offshore, and be ready to take necessary precaution actions, such as moving vehicles to higher ground. Due to life-threatening ocean conditions, including rip currents, and extremely hazardous surf and large breaking waves, double red flags have been posted throughout all Dare County beach areas by local ocean rescue agencies, indicating that no one may enter the waters of the Atlantic Ocean anywhere in Dare County. This prohibition includes swimming with or without flotation devices, rafts and/or aids, due to the inability of first responders to possibly attempt a rescue. A violation of this restriction is punishable as a Class 2 misdemeanor in accordance with GS 14-288.20A. There is one exception. It's a surfing exception. Entry into the ocean with a surfboard is permitted. A surfboard is defined as a fiberglass and foam combination, at least 5 feet in length, having a minimum of 1 fin, and used in conjunction with a leash. That is the only exception. You need to stay out of the water or you can be arrested for it. You could be arrested for going inside in the water. Now, I have some video I want to show you tonight to give you an idea of exactly what is happening. I would ask that everyone here pay close attention. You may have family members, you may have friends who live in this area. South Carolina, North Carolina, and even Virginia, all the way up to Massachusetts. These prohibitions are also in place in various areas all the way to Massachusetts. Before I show you these videos, Governor Stein had a statement this morning. Governor Stein is the governor of North Carolina. He said Hurricane Erin is expected to impact North Carolina and he has declared a state of emergency to assist with response and to mobilize resources. Mobilize resources to folks on the coast, and now is the time to prepare. Check your emergency kits. Make sure you have emergency alerts turned on your phones. And listen to emergency guidance in case you need to evacuate. Visit for up-to-date information from the State Emergency Response Team. Now, also, before I go any further, I have emergency radio here detailing
producing heavy rain across the warned area. Between 2 and 3 inches of rain have fallen. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to begin shortly. Hazard: flash flooding caused by thunderstorms. Source: radar. Impact: flash flooding of small creeks and streams, urban areas, highways, streets, and underpasses, as well as other poor drainage and low-lying areas. Some locations that will experience flash flooding include Boone, Sparta, Jefferson, West Jefferson, Blowing Rock, Independence, Lansing. This includes the following streams and drainages: Rush Creek, Beaver Dam Creek, Bridle Creek, Tree Branch, Bear Branch, Big Sandy Creek, Beaver Creek, Big Pine Creek, Big Horse Creek, and Basin Creek. Turn around. Don't drown when encountering flooded roads. Most flood deaths occur in vehicles. When it is safe to do so, please send your reports of flooding, including mudslides or flooded roads, to the National Weather Service by calling toll-free at 1-866-215-4324. Reports and pictures can also be shared on the National Weather Service Blacksburg Facebook page and on X. Here is a special weather statement. A strong thunderstorm will impact west central Rutherford and north central Polk counties through 4:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. At 4:13 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Doppler radar was tracking a strong thunderstorm 9 miles northwest of Rutherford or 5 miles east of Lake Lure, moving southeast at 10 miles per hour. Hazard: wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour and half-inch hail. Source: radar indicated. Impact: gusty winds could knock down tree limbs and blow around unsecured objects. Minor hail damage to outdoor objects is possible. Locations impacted include Shingle Hollow and Green Hill. If outdoors, consider seeking shelter inside a building. Here is a special weather statement. A strong thunderstorm will impact southwestern Alexander and southeastern Caldwell counties through 4:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. At 4:17 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Doppler radar was tracking a strong thunderstorm 8 miles east of Lenore or 5 miles north of Granite Falls, moving south at 15 miles per hour. Hazard: wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour and pea-sized hail. Source: radar indicated. Impact: gusty winds could knock down tree limbs and blow around unsecured objects. Minor hail damage to outdoor objects if possible. Locations impacted include Granite Falls, Bethlehem, Rhodus, Lake Hickory, Cedar Rock, Sawmills, Hudson, Lake Rhodus, North Lakes, and Little River. If outdoors, consider seeking shelter inside a building. Flood advisory in effect until 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time this evening. What flooding caused by excessive rainfall is expected? Where?
Okay, I'm going to end right there, but I'm putting it out here. Everybody in those areas, and those areas are just north of me. Those areas are just north of me. This is serious, guys. Now, I have something else to show you too that I forgot I even had here. Let me bring this up. This is windy.com, by the way. You can access for your area at windy.com, windy.com. This shows the extent of Hurricane Erin, which is just offshore from South and North Carolina right now. Okay? The eye of this storm is just offshore right now, and you can see the gravity waves in the center of this storm. This is a major storm, guys. This is a very major storm. This storm is over 600 miles wide now, or 600 miles wide. 276 miles from one end of the wind of the hurricane force winds, which are 120 miles per hour right now, all the way out to the east, or all the way out to the west, which is right now over my area now. Those are the outer bands of the hurricane. On the other hand, way out to sea, 276 miles out to sea, on the other side of the eye of the storm. Again, this storm is over 600 miles wide. That's huge. And you can't see totally the outer bands of the hurricane as it stretches over over North Carolina here. But be advised of this. I can see it out my office window. I can see it out my office window. Everyone needs to know what's happening here, guys. Everyone needs to know what's happening. This storm is dangerous. This storm could take your life or mine. I want to put everybody on notice right now. You need to take action to save your lives. Those of you that don't live within this area here of Georgia, South, North Carolina, Virginia, all the way to Massachusetts, you may have friends or family that do. You need to notify them what's going on. I would ask you that you share this program far and wide. Share with your family, your extended family, your friends and your neighbors. Share with the people you work with and also your social media contacts. Also, please give us a thumbs up if you like what we're talking about. If you enjoy this program and you have an idea that it will benefit somebody, give us a thumbs up. Also, once you stay here, stay here. Once you get here, stay here. It doesn't do you any good stay here for 10 or 15 minutes and miss the rest of our program. Because what we have to share to you or share with you tonight is vital for your safety or the safety of someone else. Stay here for our entire program. Okay? Now, let's go over here and show you this information. This is information as of 2 p.m. today.
Tracking Erin, here we go. Hurricane Erin is surging through the northern part of the southeast coastline. You can see right there, it's a big storm. I mean, geographically speaking, you're talking about almost 600 miles wide worth of tropical storm force winds. That's huge. It's going to affect millions of people along the eastern seaboard, and it already has. Evacuations are underway for parts of coastal North Carolina. And there's more behind it. We got a 60% chance of seeing a tropical depression over the next week. Behind that one, another tropical wave. 40% chance we see another named storm out there too. Yeah, we're starting to get into the peak of the season. The biggest threat though for Erin is going to be the big waves, the beach erosion, the rip currents, the whole thing. Watch that forecast going into a major hurricane. Could be a category 3 by this time tomorrow morning and overnight tonight. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Our continuing coverage of Hurricane Erin goes on right now. We got our brand new numbers out here for the 2 o'clock advisory. Let's get right to it. Things have changed a little bit with the pressure, but as for the winds, still about the same. 110 mile per hour sustained wind storm. That is the highest end category 2 you can get. Once it gets about 111, it's considered to be a category 3, and that would be considered a major hurricane again. Remember, it was category 5 over this past weekend. And it went down to a category 1, back up to category 2. Now we're watching it right now. We'll see what happens with this thing. But yeah, it got down to 100 mile per hour winds. That's still a category 2 this morning. Now it's gaining some strength. We'll see where it goes. 9:43 though, the millibars have come up just about 2 in the last 3 hours, but I think it's just waffling. It is getting into warmer water. So you look at that presentation, it's not being disrupted at all. In fact, you see the outflow to the north. You would think maybe we're getting some northwesterly breezes coming in. It has not messed up that circulation yet. Where does it go from here? That is a really tight little error cone right there, all in agreement with the models. Then it continues to head up to the north today, bends to the north-northeast, ultimately to the northeast, and then getting out of here across the northern part of the Atlantic. Storm surge warnings, these are still in play. That goes from Duck, North Carolina, rounds the horn around Cape Hatteras, down to Cape Lookout in the Beaufort area right there. You've got that. Let me pull that picture up just a bit more to the north. And we've got the tropical storm warnings in red right here. And they extend all the way out to coastal waters in New Jersey from Manasquan Inlet down through Cape May. Chincoteague right there is where it turns into the interior sections too, where you do have the tropical storm warnings. Tropical storm warnings are for the open waters in Jersey, Barnegat Bay, Manasquan Inlet down to the south. So we've got that for the next few days as the whole thing continues to move on up. When do we expect the tropical storm force winds? That will be late today or the evening hours for the eastern part of North Carolina. This map shows it pretty well. It gets pretty close to Nantucket too, right? You're talking about the east coast of Massachusetts. That wouldn't be until tomorrow evening sometime. So we got about 36 hours before that happens. Look at the picture. It looks pretty good. Pull that picture out of you a little bit more, and you see the track as it continues to wobble. But here's the trend, a little bit of wobbly, and then finally moving up to the north. And that's what we have seen for the last couple of rounds now. And it looks like it's going to be on that direction for the next 6 to 8 hours. That's what we're watching. Let me turn this thing 3D-wise. You can see just how perfectly circular this is. It has a nice structure to it as we bend it around.
Okay, look at this. Look at the outer band waves of this hurricane going over land here. Look at the outer band waves going over land here. South and North Carolina, stretching up to Virginia as well. Okay, way out to where I live. That's why we have a thunderstorm warning just north of where I'm at.
And you can see the eye wall itself chugging along pretty strong. In the middle part where you see the clear skies, that is the eye itself. We'll turn around even more because you got those feeder bands that mean business also. These are wrapping around into the center. A lot of lightning out there also with those feeder bands as it peaks on up to the upper part of the troposphere. Here's how far out the winds extend, though. Now you're talking about 265 miles out from the center where you have tropical storm force winds. Maybe not quite as much on the eastern flank, but it's still going to brush into the outer banks of North Carolina later on today into the evening hours. This could be underdone as well. That wind field is going to be much bigger than that.
Okay. There's another report here as well. Well, actually, I have two more reports. And then I've got an advisory from the rescue group over in Dare County. Okay, I'm not done. I want to make sure we get this information out to you so you know what's going on, so you can protect yourself and your family. We talked about doing this every day that we're on this program. I think it's very important. I wouldn't be here otherwise.
I'm Chief Jack Scarborough with the Hatteras Island Rescue Squad, with the worst conditions from Erin expected to begin with this evening's high tide. I just wanted to let you know that first responders on Hatteras Island are ready to help you if you need it. While we are ready, we are also concerned that with the impacts we are expected to see, we may not be able to. With 2 to 4 feet of storm surge and large breaking waves pushing water inland over the next couple of days, we may not be able to respond. Now is the time to make sure you are ready. Take appropriate action now to protect your outdoor property, like cars and yard items, by moving them to higher ground. As the 6 p.m. high tide approaches this evening, be ready to shelter in place. While this looks to be an oceanfront event, water could rise in our Soundside communities as well. If water starts to surround your home, move to the highest level and stay there until it starts to recede. Do not think it's over after the first high tide. Conditions could persist into Friday. Help us, help you. Get ready now for Erin.
Get ready now for Erin, guys. That's the chief of rescue for Dare County. I've got one more video to show you here. This is emphasizing the coastline. This is Fox weather here.
North Carolina, particularly vulnerable during close calls with hurricanes, as we're seeing right now. But even without a named storm, it's exposed to all the hazards of living near the Atlantic. Beach erosion, due in part to rising sea levels along Hatteras Island, are chewing away at the foundation of many of these beachfront homes. Storms like Erin make that erosion accelerate.
And in the past 5 years alone, over a dozen homes have washed away into the Atlantic. But the issues don't stop there. Massive amounts of debris, as a result, will linger along the coast and can even be found up to 15 miles away from shore.
Chairman for the Dare County Board of Commissioners, Bob Woodard, joins us now. Bob, good morning. Thanks for joining us. I want to first talk about those homes, which, as we know now, are uninhabited, and they have been for quite some time. There have been questions that we've been asking here at Fox Weather. Whose responsibility, or is it someone's responsibility to, before these things maybe get taken out by the Atlantic, is there a means to maybe deconstruct these homes so they don't serve as a hazard as the ocean takes them away?
Well, first off, thank you, Stephen and Marissa, for having me this morning. We're very, very fortunate here on the Outer Banks that, you know, the beach is our economic engine. and we've not had the pleasure of having federal or state funds help us. And so in the last 12 years, we have taken, we have a 6 cents occupancy tax, and 2% of that, 2 cents of that 6 cents is obligated or directed for beach nourishment. And over 12 years, we've spent in excess of $250 million in protecting our beaches. Unfortunately, our funds are low now, and we've got to take what's remaining of that and do maintenance program projects. And unfortunately, right now, we don't have the funds to do anything with respects to nourishment and rodanthe. And that's been a problem in the last several years. Rodanthe is certainly a hot spot now.
So then I guess also, Bob, my question is, what responsibility do the property owners have, or maybe the prior property owners? And then when it comes to any remaining homes that are still very vulnerable to getting washed away, where that stands with how many you have that you're currently watching? So apologies, because it's kind of a two-part question.
Right. Well, that area is very, very vulnerable. It's Park Service area property. Park Service has really been working very diligently with homeowners. As a matter of fact, the Department of Interior has been able to provide some funds locally. They've purchased a couple of those homes and had those homes removed from the oceanfront. They've also encouraged the property owners, if there is some wide dunes behind that beach area, we've really been working hard to encourage those property owners to try to spend the funds to move those homes off the beach and further back to Highway 12. And we've searched all kinds of avenues to try to help them financially to do that, but it is the ultimate responsibility of the homeowner to try to make that happen.
Yeah, and that would be quite a cost, right? And Bob, perhaps you had mentioned it. With this storm now, with Erin going to make a very close approach to Rodanthe, I'm sure, let's hope not, but there might be a couple of more homes that are compromised and taken out into the Atlantic. Is there a number that y'all have in Dare County of how many are at risk or maybe just uninhabited now, waiting to be taken out?
Stephen, we feel like...
Stand by with this telephone number. You may want to write this telephone number down.
There's a dozen or more that certainly could be compromised and certainly go with this round. You know, we always plan for the worst, and we certainly hope for the best. This is nothing. This storm is nothing to play around with, especially with the surges that they're talking about. So we're just you know, holding our breath with respects to that. But unfortunately, if in fact the waves are going to reach the heights that they're talking about tomorrow morning through Thursday, then unfortunately, I think we're going to see some homes go in the ocean.
And I guess, you know, when you think about it, there's really no time of year specifically that you're on alert for this issue. It can happen year round, not just tropical cyclones, as Stephen mentioned earlier, but it could be any low pressure system, any nor'easter that can bring those intense waves along the shore and for a prolonged period. So we will continue to wait and see, as I'm sure you will be watching as well. We appreciate you joining us here on Weather Command. Chairman for Dare County Board of Commissioners, Bob Woodard. Good luck, right, as we navigate the next several days.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, that's important information. I just gave you information about what's going on at these beaches, these homes along the coast, and also Highway 12 that supplies traffic, automobile traffic, both commercial and also civilian traffic here, getting supplies out to Hatteras or Ocracoke Island, and also, oh gosh, what's that? There's Hatteras, Ocracoke, and one other island there. Anyway, the northern Outer Banks, guys, the barrier islands here. Okay. Jay Hart is asking who else in North Carolina, New Jersey area. I know Rebecca's in North Carolina. I'm in North Carolina. We also have one of our friends, Lambs of Light, which is over just southwest of me over in Asheville. Okay, we have several people here in North Carolina total that are members of the EMA family here. Does anybody have any questions, guys? I want to make sure we answer any questions. Renee is putting up information about flash flood warnings. Okay, Blacksburg, Virginia. Okay, and the National Weather Service out of Blacksburg, Virginia for Allegheny, North Carolina, Ash, North Carolina, Wilkes, North Carolina, Grayson, Virginia, and life-threatening flash flooding. Life-threatening flash flooding. Now, I'm looking out my window now, and we see very black cumulonimbus clouds with their thunderstorms coming into Morganton right now. We told you, we showed you, or not, we showed you, we let you listen to the National Weather Service broadcast earlier where it talked about these thunderstorms coming into this area around Valdez and north of Valdez over into Granite Falls and Lenore. Now it's here. Now it's here, very much here. Any questions? Yes, Blue Girl says upstate South Carolina. Everyone in South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, and all the way up to Boston, Massachusetts is going to be impacted by this storm, and probably all the way into Maine and even into Canada. Tropical storm warning issued by the Weather Service out of Wakefield, Virginia, for Virginia Beach as well. Virginia Beach is over on the southeast side of Virginia, almost right next to the North Carolina border. Renee is also here in North Carolina. She's basically east of me. Hurricane Heather says she thought it was Kitty Hawk as well. It is. Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina is part of Dare County. We just got through explaining what's going on in Dare County, North Carolina as well. They're primarily the ones that are getting hit with this storm. They're primarily the ones that are getting hit right now with this storm. And it's bad. It's very bad. Now I'm going back and show you this this film footage I picked up earlier today. I want you to see this again. Okay? I think it's well said. I'm going to go over
Stay
again.
safe out there. Calls with hurricanes, as we're seeing right now.
See, as I'm
Get taken out by the Atlantic.
Oh, this is crazy.
All right, 11 a.m. Wednesday morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins here in Tampa Bay, Florida. And here is the latest on a reorganizing a little bit, Hurricane Erin, that is now moving off towards the north and approaching the Carolina coastline. The center will remain offshore. Let me get that out of the way right away. But we will already see in the waves, or we're going to get a little bit of wind on the outer banks. Florida's looking good. Things are getting better, although we will keep the surf and the rip current risks over the next couple of days. But we do have a little bit of breaking news because the hurricane forecast is coming out, and the 11 o'clock just came out and said it's forecasting for a stronger storm. Number one, it's looking at winds right now at 110 miles per hour. One more, 111, starts the major hurricane status, Cat 3 or higher, and that is now in the forecast. I think it's going to go up to about 120. We'll talk about that. Pressure's back down to 41 millibars, and it's moving to the north at 13 miles per hour. That is good. There's no north-northwest. There's no west in it. And you want north, you want north-northeast. In fact, you would just take northeast would be great at this particular point. But there's a closer look at it. You can see what's happening over here. Now, keep in mind, there's obviously lots of rising air in a hurricane, and you can see the showers and storms on the outside here. But on the outside of that is a bunch of sinking air. And that's exactly where most of Florida is, at least the peninsula for today. So there will be some showers and storms, but there will not be a lot because the air is literally rising here, coming over, and sinking here. Okay, and that's you can actually see these showers and storms here are part of that rising air. They're right on the cusp.
Okay, Heather said something here in the chat I want to emphasize. She was talking about the dry air. There's dry air coming in from the northwest, okay? That is keeping this hurricane where it's at. Keeping this hurricane a category 2, not 3 or 4. If it wasn't for that dry air penetrating the northwestern part of this storm might have strengthened up to a category 3, category 4 by now. This is important information.
Closer look at it, we have an eye again. Eye wall's been trying to form. It's about 15 nautical miles wide right now. Looks like that may get a little bit bigger. It had some wind shear on it yesterday, and that's what really kind of knocked it down just a little bit. But that wind shear, which at one point was sitting right about in here on it, is now doing something more like this. It's kind of coming up and over. Let me pull this down just a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. It's kind of doing something a little bit more like that. And so that's allowing this storm to fire back up. It did have a little bit of dry air come into it, and that affected it a little bit, but not a whole lot. Now, here's the latest track, the 11 o'clock numbers that just came in. 120 mile per hour winds, Cat 3, by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Now, at that point, that's about as close as it's going to get to the Carolinas. That's about 170 miles or so from Cape Hatteras. That's about 300 miles east of Wilmington, North Carolina, Riceville Beach area. All right, and it's already, at that point, this is key, by tomorrow morning, it's already moving northeast. Okay, so it's moving north now, it'll go north-northeast tonight, and then it looks like northeast during the day on Thursday and head on out to sea. So, great news there, and you can see that it is going to continue to move out, and really it's going to get sheared apart. There's a lot more shear coming in from the north and the west, something like this, and that's really going to knock this thing down. But by that time, it's turning extra tropical. It's over cooler water. And speaking of that, this area right in here, some of the warmest water that there is in the Atlantic right now. And that's part of the issue of it strengthening just a little bit. We think that's going to be coming back up. All right, forecast models. Obviously, this far along in the game, very good agreement for the area that we're concerned about.
Those are the spaghetti models we've talked about, the computer spaghetti models from different agencies and parts of the world, including Europe.
Which is obviously here all the way through about here, okay? And that's next 48 hours, right? So you're going to have pretty good agreement, and the models really are looking good for that. Watches and warnings. So now they have extended the tropical storm warning from eastern North Carolina, where it was yesterday. This is Onslow County right here, where all my Marine friends at right here. That's Camp Lejeune right in there. So Onslow County all the way up through the Outer Banks, including the Albemarle and the Pamlico Sounds. That means these areas in far eastern North Carolina, like Bath and Pender County, those areas are not Pender County, but over towards New Bern, Craven County. They're right on the cusp of that. And what we had yesterday was a tropical storm watch from the very, say, Duck northward. And that went up to about Rehoboth Beach. It was a little south Rehoboth Beach. Now, that is a tropical storm warning. And the difference is that now we're expecting winds sustained around 40 miles per hour right here along the immediate coast. All right, Chincoteague's in there, Ocean City, Maryland, Ocean Pines. Rehoboth now is in it. They have extended this up to Manasquan, just north of Toms River area. So that area, I mean, obviously the further north you go, the less chance you're going to get 40 mile per hour sustained winds. But that's it. That's a windy day out there on the beach. Okay, surf is already there. The swells will build, but this is wind that will pick up late tonight and during the day tomorrow and tomorrow night. There is a storm surge warning, and I know it's really tough to see here because it's so thin, but a storm surge warning for eastern half of Moorhead, Beaufort, basically Moorhead City eastward, and that'll go all the way up, obviously, for the Outer Banks. And then it's kind of tough to see. They don't have it much higher than that, okay? It goes all the way up to just north of Kill Devil Hills. That is the extent of it. So the winds are coming in from the north and the east, right? And those will start to pick up, but the swell's been coming in like this. And the swell will get larger. That's what's causing some of the overwash. That's causing, obviously, the large waves. But when you mix it with that wind that's coming, there's already been a ton of erosion on these beaches in the Carolinas, even down into Wrightsville. But that's just going to get really bad as we pick up the wind a little bit and the surf size increases over the next 24 to 36 hours. So there's been some erosion. You've probably seen video of it. I would expect that there would be a lot more where that came from as we go into, well, especially tonight, but I'd say really during the day on Thursday and into Thursday night. Things will be getting better in those areas for Friday. This is Thursday, and you can see where the storm is. This is showing you the shear. Remember I was talking about that shear? Uh-oh, we got it.
Okay, you see that shear there? You see the hurricane gaining strength there to Category 3? That's what's going to happen. That's going to happen. Now, Renee is putting up more thunderstorm warnings here. Newport, Moorhead City, North Carolina for Hatteras Island. That's not surprising me. Newport, Moorhead City for mainland Dare County as well. We talked about Dare County. It's getting inundated here. Now, I just looked out my window. The winds have picked up here. I'm going to say we have 35-mile-per-hour winds here in Morganton, North Carolina, and we definitely have more cumulonimbus clouds, meaning thunderheads. We're going to have a bad thunderstorm here. I've heard a little bit of thunder already. Does anybody have any questions here? Tropical storm warning issued today from Newport, Moorhead City, North Carolina for Ocracoke Island. Ocracoke Island, guys. Everybody needs to prepare for this, guys. You need to prepare for this. Those of you on the island, you probably have no more than just one more hour to high tide, and then you're going to be inundated with storm surge and very strong seas and waves. Okay? Inundated, Highway 12 will be completely plowed under by water. You're not going to be able to get in or off the island after that. Now's the time to get what you need during the next, like I'm going to say, maybe the next 30 minutes. I don't think you're going to have more than 30 minutes time period before this starts happening. Does anybody have any questions here? Hurricane Heather says she's surprised there isn't more of a tornado risk for these areas. Right before, well, when I first started this program, I was letting you listen to the National Weather Service, and they were talking about tornado risk just north and west of me over in Lenore, North Carolina, and over even into Hickory, which is 17 miles north of me. So we do have some kind of tornado risk here and very high risk of thunderstorms. Again, let me bring out the windy map here. Let me show you the windy map here, showing the hurricane offshore here, but the outer bands of the storm are over land now. The outer bands of this hurricane are over land, and that's when we have these thunderstorms being released by the outer bands of the hurricane. Okay? This storm is spinning counterclockwise. This storm is spinning counterclockwise, and these outer bands are bringing in the thunderstorms from the hurricane. Okay, the outer bands are bringing in the thunderstorms from out in the hurricane. The outer band winds have thunderstorms and even tornadoes embedded within the thunderstorms. This is what's happening. Okay? Now, some of the winds have died down. We might have 10 or 15 mile per hour winds right now. It looks like the thunderstorms are blowing out to the east right now. Hopefully that's the end of it. I don't think so, but I think it might be the end of it. Any questions here? Renee says storm surge warning issued for Ocracoke Island. That doesn't surprise me. Like I said, you guys out on Hatteras, Ocracoke, or anywhere in Dare County, you need to very much batten down the hatches and prepare to shelter in place for at least the next 36 to 48 hours. Okay, earlier I said 36. I'm going to extend that out for at least 48 hours. Shelter in place, meaning don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Okay? Now, Demon Catman said this, and I'm going to repeat it here. Okay? We need donations to our program to help keep this program on the air. It takes money, I found, to keep this program on the air. I just got another. No, I didn't either. That was for the electricity. Within the matter of days, I'm going to get another bill for bandwidth, $253 for bandwidth to keep this program on the air. We would appreciate you helping us with that. You can send PayPal donations to 2 PayPal locations here. We showing you the Venmo location. Right now, I understand the Venmo doesn't work. We have 2 PayPal locations, and we also have our mailing address, 504 Bethel Road, Box 401, Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code here is 28655. You can write us a letter. Please tell us how you're doing. Please share with us the preparedness things you're doing for you and your family, so we might be able to share those steps with others. No, we won't mention your name unless you want us to mention your name. But we want to share this information with everybody. Everybody deserves to know how to prepare, and we want to share that information with them. You can also send us a card. In the center of your letter, right wrapped in the middle of your letter, you can stick a donation. The same thing with your card. If you send us a card, put your donation in the middle of that card and send it to us. Again, the address here is 504 Bethel Road, Box 401, Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code here is 28655. You can also send suggestions, ideas, criticisms of our program to our email address, rltnspdema@gmail.com. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any questions here? Now, Demon Catman also talked about our membership here. Right below this video today in the top of our program description, you can find a membership link. You can click on that link, and for as little as $1.99 a month, you can join as a member of this program. Okay, you can join here on YouTube as a member of our program. We greatly appreciate that as well. Okay, also right below this video in the top of our program description, you're going to find our email address, you're going to find our PayPal addresses, and you're going to also see our our mailing address here. Okay, so please do that. Please do that. Lou Potts is here. Welcome, Lou Potts. We appreciate you being here. Yes, Sage Pup says that it's very common for a hurricane to spin counterclockwise. Absolutely it is. That happens all the time. I've never seen a hurricane go otherwise than counterclockwise. Another storm surge warning has been issued for the northern Outer Banks of North Carolina. Not surprising. Not surprising at all. The barrier islands are being inundated with this storm right now as we speak. Charlie's here. Welcome, Charlie. Appreciate you being here. Charlie's asking, what about the Hawaii volcanic eruption? The only eruption right now is over at Kilauea. Kilauea has been erupting off and on for years now. Okay? Right now it's been spittering and spattering, putting up lava fountains all over the place. Beautiful lava fountains. Absolutely beautiful lava fountains. But it's also dangerous. Thanks, Heather. We appreciate that. Do we have anybody with questions here? Now, if this storm really gets bad here and things get a lot worse, we plan on coming on the air again a little bit later. Otherwise, we will just do an update, probably just put up a posting like we did last night, but that's what we're going to do. Okay. I'm also going to put up another program here on Facebook Live. I'm also going to be putting up a TikTok program as well. I promised them I'll do an update tonight. I'm going to do that as well. Charlie's asking, if you heard about a tsunami warning? No. So far, I have no tsunami warnings been issued. Hold on a second. I'm going to check that. There's no tsunami warning, advisory, watch, or even a threat right now. Okay. There was a 5.6 earthquake about 100 miles south of Hawaii Island. Okay. It was a 5.6 large earthquake. In order for there to be a tsunami, usually it takes at least a 6.5 earthquake to happen. But even then, it's not always certain that it happens. What happens with that? Okay. We have to have an ocean bottom drop like this. Then there's going to be a tsunami of some kind. Where part of the ocean bottom drops like this, and the other stays up like this. That would cause a tsunami. Okay, a 5.6 earthquake won't do it. Okay, any questions about that? There was also a 6.5 earthquake over in Indonesia, Papua, Indonesia. I'm going to go over here. In fact, let me bring it up here. Let me bring up the USGS map here. I want to show you what's going on. Take down our webcam, take down our EMA banner here, and show you exactly what's going on here. They're not even showing, I don't think they're even showing the 5.6 earthquake here. No, they're not. This earthquake here is over near Pahala, Hawaii, 2 miles south of Pahala, Hawaii. Pahala is right here. Make sure you can see it. Pahala is a small town just north of this earthquake. This is only a 2.3 earthquake, minor earthquake. Okay. There's that earthquake there, and one other earthquake just southeast of Kilauea. Southeast of Kilauea. This is over on the Helena Slump here. This is the Helena Slump. This earthquake here is a 2.0 earthquake over here on the northern end of the Helena Slump. The Helena Slump here, guys, is a portion of land that people talked about falling into the Pacific that would cause a tsunami that would head for the area of California and southern Mexico. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, even if it did. But they're only showing 2 minor earthquakes here. Only 2 minor earthquakes here around the Big Island here. Let's go over here. I want to check this here. That 6.5 happened on August 12th, so that happened just 8 days ago. So that doesn't make any difference here. and they're not showing the 5.6 over by Hawaii. The only other earthquake they're showing here, oh, this is weird. This is really weird. They are showing a earthquake. Oh, this is totally wild. I never thought they would show this where it's at. Let me take down the USGS map here. I'm going to show you tsunami.gov to give you an idea what we're talking about here. Okay. This earthquake right here is supposed to be the 5.6 earthquake that happened approximately 111 miles south of Hawaii. But this is way further south than that. Where they're showing this earthquake is over by Tonga. It's not over by Tonga at all. It's not over by Tonga at all. Okay. 5.6 earthquake south of the big island of Hawaii. But here on the tsunami.gov map, it's not showing proper coordinates. And Pickering's here. Appreciate you, Ann. Thank you for being here. Hurricane Heather says, you got Sir to talk about earthquakes. Yes, you did get me to talk about earthquakes. There has been no major earthquake activity at all. There's been absolutely no major earthquake activity at all. None. None at all. Let's go back to the USGS map really quickly here. Okay, that's Hawaii right here. Okay, 111 miles would be out about right here in this area south of Hawaii here. What the tsunami.gov map showed was an earthquake happening way down here in the Tonga area. Yes, we just had an earthquake down here near Niapo, Tonga. This is 80 miles west-northwest of Niapo, Tonga. It's only a 4.4 earthquake. 154 miles deep, still fairly shallow earthquake. Down here, south of Fiji, is a 4.4 earthquake here. This is 362 miles deep. This is a deep earthquake here. This is a deep 4.4 earthquake, which means this 4.4 is going to propagate at least a 5.4, 5.5 earthquake within the next 3 to 10 days. Stronger shallow quake, 5.4 to 5.5 within the next 3 to 10 days, probably somewhere in this region. Okay, south of that earthquake, we have another 4.4 earthquake, and guess what? This is almost as deep as that one. This is 320 miles deep. This also could propagate a 5.3 earthquake. This could propagate a 5.3, even a 5.4 earthquake here. So we have two earthquakes down here south of Fiji that could propagate upwards of a 5.3 to 5.5 earthquake. So now we are expecting at least two large earthquakes here within the next 3 to 10 days. Let's go down here. Okay, we're talking now about the Kermadec Islands. This is a 4.6 earthquake. This is only 160 miles deep. 160 miles deep. Not a big deal. Again, this is a 4.6 earthquake in the Kermadec Islands, and these islands are uninhabited except by birds. It's a bird sanctuary. USBS is not showing any earthquakes whatsoever here in New Zealand, either northern New Zealand, which is Raoul Island, or the South Island down here. They're not showing any earthquakes. They're probably, I want to say, about 26 earthquakes between the North Island and the South Island here of New Zealand. They're not showing any at all. That's a travesty, real travesty. They're not showing anything here in Australia. They're showing 4 earthquakes here in Indonesia. This is a 4.5 earthquake here near Kapalua Babar, Indonesia, in the Banda Sea. This is a 4.5 earthquake, 75 kilometers deep, 75 miles deep, I'm sorry. Right here, also in the Banda Sea. This is a 4.6 earthquake near Timor. We go further to the west here. This is east of Java. Potano, Indonesia. This is a 4.4. This is 134 miles deep. We go over here north of Java here, northwestern Java, Indonesia here. This is a 5.0 earthquake. This is a 5.0 earthquake southeast of Jakarta. Jakarta, Indonesia is the capital of Indonesia. This is southeast of Jakarta here. A 5.0 large earthquake, 21 miles deep, 22 miles deep. Now I'm going to have to take a picture here and send it to a friend of mine because he has his in-laws that live here in Jakarta. So I'm going to take a screenshot of this in a few minutes and send it to him so he can talk to his relatives there in Jakarta, Indonesia. Okay, that's all that's happened here in the Pacific Rim nations. Okay, hold it, wait just a minute. Let's go over here to Alaska. We just had several new earthquakes here in Alaska. Over here in the north part of Denali, Alaska, this is a 3.3 earthquake here. 3.3 small earthquake here, 2 miles deep. Okay, over here to the north, this is a swarm of earthquakes here. This is a 4.1 near 4 Mile Road. We've had swarms of earthquakes here in the 4 Mile Road area for quite some time. This is a 4.1 moderate earthquake, and here together, we have more aftershocks here as well. These are new. This is just brand new. This is a 0.6 microquake. Right next to it here is a 2.8 minor earthquake here. This is 8 miles deep. To the south here is a 0.8 microquake here. This is 12 miles deep here. This is 0.8 here. And to the north here, this is a 0.5 microquake here. Okay, so we had a 4.0 earthquake over here at 4 Mile Road, Alaska. Okay, this is Central Alaska, basically. Central Alaska. We have one other earthquake over here to the northwest here. We have Shuvnik, Alaska, which is also a volcano here. This is a 3.0 earthquake here. 3.0 earthquake just south of the Arctic Circle here in Alaska. Okay. Over here at the Kamchatka Peninsula, we had very strong and dangerous major earthquakes here just a few weeks ago. Down here, south of the Kamchatka Peninsula, we have a moderate 4.5 earthquake here. North there at the tip of the Kamchatka, we have a 4.6 earthquake here. Continue north over here on the earthquake fault. Very dangerous ridge here, undersea ridge here. This is a 4.3 moderate earthquake here. And to the north, we have another large 5.0 earthquake here. And right next to it, over here to the west, we have another 4.6 earthquake, another 4.6 here just south of that. That's here in the Pacific Ocean on the northwest side of the Pacific Ocean here. Okay? They're not showing much of anything except over here on the western side of the Himalaya Mountains. Western side of the Himalaya Mountains here. Guys, this is India. This is Kichwar, India. This is a 4.1 earthquake. It's on the edge of the plate here. The Himalaya Mountain region all over here and stretching down south of the Himalayas through Myanmar, which is Burma. Shows Burma here, but it's Myanmar. Goes all the way down here into Sumatra, Indonesia. It's the edge of the plate. There are 7 different plates in action here, and that's the edge of the plate there. Also down here in the Indian Ocean. Okay? This is in the mid-Indian Ocean here. This is another 5.0 earthquake here. Not a big deal. It's out in the ocean, and the ocean waters here absorb the shockwaves of this quake. Okay? They're not showing anything else here. Over here in the central part of the Atlantic Ocean here, as I said before, the mid-Atlantic plate is expanding from the center. Here in the central mid-Atlantic, we have a 4.8 earthquake here. 4.8 moderate earthquake here. Yes, there are a handful of earthquakes here, actually less than a handful of earthquakes here in South America, but there's a lot more than that. There's 40 earthquakes here in South America, and USGS is only showing this one here in northern Chile. Mococa, actually northern Chile, Peru border area. This is a 4.3 earthquake here, 37 miles deep. And further north over here in northern Peru near Ecuador, we have a 5.0 large earthquake here. 5.0 large earthquake over here in the farm area of Peru, northern Peru here. Any questions? Any questions? Of course, they're not showing any earthquakes in Central America. There are 13 earthquakes in Central America and 42 earthquakes in southern Mexico. Incredible. Incredible. Over here on the Pneumatic Fault, we're going to talk about the Pneumatic Fault tonight, but we don't have enough time to completely talk about it. Over here in Catron, Missouri, we showed you seismograms from Catron, Missouri before. Here we have a 2.1 minor earthquake here. This is the central part of the Pneumatic Fault here. Okay? Earthquakes all over this area. Any questions? Any questions at all? Anne said she couldn't get her phone working, so she just watched us on YouTube yesterday. That's fine. No problem, Anne. We just appreciate you being here. Alan Newton says Trump should have a talk with USGS leadership. I agree. But first, Trump needs to tell the politicians to get out of USGS, not go in there and tell them what to do and what to say. That is the biggest problem with USGS is the politicians, because the politicians want to stay in power. It's all about money. If people don't know about what's happening on the earthquakes, or about the earthquakes, or about the volcanoes, then they would move away from it if they found out. But the politicians don't want that to happen. They want to stay in power. The people's money pays taxes to keep these politicians in power. If people were to move out of these counties and cities, then there would be no money, and these politicians would be out of work in a breadline someplace in Washington, Oregon, specifically, and even over in California. If the politicians would keep their stupid mouths shut, then maybe USGS could do its job. Incredible. It's a real bad situation, nonetheless. Renee Sevy's calling for another flash flood warning here. And this one involves me as well. Okay? A flash flood warning for Blacksburg, Virginia, Allegheny, North Carolina, Ash, North Carolina, Wilkes, North Carolina, and Grayson, Virginia. all up and down the central east side of North Carolina and Virginia. Incredible. Not surprising, but it's incredible. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys ever so much. Now I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get out of here and go and eat a meal and get something done here. If anything else happens here tonight, we'll be back here to talk to you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Before I do that, I want to go over here to give you a little bit of a devotional here in the New Testament here. Okay? Over in Timothy chapter 2, Paul is talking about telling us to pray. The Apostle Paul is telling us to pray. In verse 8, I will therefore that men pray everywhere, lifting up holy hands, without wrath and doubting. In like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel. It says here, with shamefacedness and sobriety. Now, I'm not saying this against women, okay? Back in the day, women had to be almost dressed head to foot, wearing hats and everything else. That's not the case now. Basically, what we need to do now, both men and women, we need to dress modestly. We need to go to church and we need to pray. We need to pray for our families, pray for everyone around us, pray for our world, pray for our nations, pray for our leadership. Okay? You guys know more than anything what you should pray about. Okay? But Paul is talking about all of us to pray. That's the cause right now, to pray for our nations and our world. Pray for peace. Even pray to stay some of this destruction to stop. Okay? In the last days, we know that the Lord said there would be earthquakes and very bad storms. He talked about it. We know that. We know we're living in the last days. In fact, I think we're living in the beginning of the tribulation. That's my own thoughts. Okay? But we need to pray. We need to pray. Renee Steffi says, if you encounter high water, flooded roads, turn around, don't drown. Heed your local evacuation orders. Heed your local evacuation orders. Follow the evacuation orders from your authorities over you, your mayors, your town and city councils, your county supervisors, and the police. Follow their orders and you'll be safe. Now, guys, I didn't want to get really into earthquakes because I knew if I did, we'd go way into 2 or 3 hours. I don't want to do that tonight. I want to show you this information about Hurricane Erin because it's threatening lives here. May God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. If anything happens tonight, like I said, or in the morning, we will be back here on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. And it very may well happen. May God be with you. Otherwise, we will be back here sometime just after 4 p.m. tomorrow evening. God be with you. God bless you. God be with you until we meet again. Have a good night, everybody. Much love. We'll see you soon.